one that can see.
Where there's thunder, there's lightning. John Nada. Mgtow is a lot of things, but I think that one thing for sure can be said about what it is, and that is it's the only rational response in an irrational society, an irrational world. And a lot of people accuse Mgtow of just simply being able, or rather simply not being able to get a date, or not being able to interact with women or be good with women. And in fact, if you'll pay attention and notice, a lot of Mgtow have been in a lot of relationships, and some of them have even been married in the past, or engaged, or any number of other situations with women. And were it not for this, we couldn't be Mgtow. We wouldn't have a frame of reference for the things that we were saying. It would be like somebody that had never been to Europe telling you all about Europe. We're telling you what we have come to experience and come to learn and come to find out vis-a-vis our relationship experiences and experiences with women. And we know these things because we have experienced them. And a lot of the problem that when I look back on my own experiences have been there just aren't any decent women, if there ever were any. And I've probably mentioned this before, but it's like I do think that almost every girl that I've went out on a date with in the past 2 or 3 years has all had the abusive ex-boyfriend. And now whether or not the guy was really all that abusive or not, I have no idea, but yet it's a common theme. And so whether it's true or not, it really doesn't bode well, because it's either to suggest that the woman has to make that up for some sort of sympathy, or that women are just so short-sighted that they all have to date that one guy that beats the crap out of them. And then, there's a sundry other issues associated with dating and everything else. I mean, it's to the point now where you have to put so much effort into getting a girl interested just to get anywhere with them. And then once you get there, it's just not really worth the effort that you put in. I mean, the amount of time you have to spend coming up with different date ideas and everything else, and the money, and the constant, you really have to become somebody you're not. And I'm at the point now where I'm tired of playing a role. I'm tired of wearing a mask. I'm tired of feeling like I have to be somebody I'm not. It becomes very cumbersome and exhausting to have to not live as the real you. And you can guarantee that if you're in a relationship with anybody, that you're going to have to compromise a lot of who you are, and hide a lot of who you are for the relationship to be a, quote, successful relationship. Whatever the definition of success in that sense means. And so it's not worth the effort. It's not worth the time. Certainly not worth the resources. And like I said, Mgtow is reaction. Mgtow is the only sane choice at this point. Because even with marriage, the people that are still stuck in the blue pill frame of mind, and people such as the Tradcons and others, they're playing by the same set of rules, but don't realize that the game has changed, and they're going on as if nothing has changed. The Mgtow has realized that things have changed and is adjusting accordingly and doing what is in his best self-interest. But for whatever reason, the Mgtow is demonized for doing what's in his best interest, whereas anyone else would be lauded and praised and applauded for it, and even said to be wise for doing it. But that's kind of the crux of the issue here. It's the only sane choice now, because marriage doesn't make a woman any more faithful than just being in a relationship with her. And being in a relationship, for the most part, in my experience, and I think in the experience of a lot of other people, is not near as fulfilling as we're told it is. I mean, just look at the marriages that are out there. Of the ones that don't end in divorce, how many, you know, are just kind of silently suffering in their marriage? I mean, just because a divorce didn't happen doesn't mean that the marriage is all wedded bliss and whatnot. I'm sure there's some happy marriages out there, but I'd say that it's sort of like playing Russian roulette with 7 bullets in the chamber of an 8-chamber revolver. Sure, there's happy relationships, there's happy marriages, but the percentages of them are so low that it's not realistic to think, or even rational to think, that you're going to luck out and roll the dice and be one of those few relationships. And I mean, there's nothing saying that a happy marriage or a happy relationship can't downturn somewhere else along the line. So it's really the only rational choice. I mean, when faced with things like divorce rape and alimony and child support and false rape accusations, and the amount of time and energy and effort and hoops that one must jump through, and the amount of emotionally and financially and in every other sundry way of supporting somebody while getting nothing back in return of, in the way of support, and expected to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, and maybe getting the occasional, maybe occasionally getting sex, or, in the case of a marriage, or even a long-term relationship. I just wonder, for a lot of people, including myself, what are the possibilities? Where could I be? What highest of heights could I reach if I took all the amount of energy and thought and action that I have put towards relationships and women in the past, and put them towards a career or a goal, or what a dream, maybe a dream to visit, a certain country you've always wanted to see, or a goal that you've always wanted to accomplish, or even think about it in terms of fitness goals. If you were to take all these things, all this energy, and put it towards something like that, where could you be? Mgtow gives us the opportunity. It gives us the mindset to navigate this landmine, this field of landmines. It gives us the wherewithal to see the truth, to see the true nature of things, and to not be sucked back in. I think these are all things I realized in the past. I think that these are all things that we've all realized at some point in our life, because at some point it comes smacking into your face, the reality of things, and you're faced with the choice of either accepting it or not. But we didn't have an explanation for things, and so we just chalked it up to just being the wrong girl, the wrong time, or I didn't have enough success in this area of life or in that area of life. But as the wheels of time have kept turning and churning and moving forward, it's just this realization of things are just simply the way they are. And so Mgtow is the only sane way of looking at things at this point, because it's the only true and real way of looking at things. You're seeing things for how they are, not as you wish them to be. Well, that's all the time I've got today on the Days of Thunder. Would like to thank everybody for their comments and participation, and all the nice things that they've said. I'll try to get back to each individual comment as much as possible. I appreciate the support from everybody. I think this community is important, because as much as maybe I've helped some of you, it helps me to just get all these thoughts and everything out there. So as long as I'm permitted to continue to do so, I'll be handing out these free Hoffman lenses of truth, and getting the message out and spreading the word, and hoping more people can find peace and serenity in going their own way. Until next time, you're free to do as you're told.